Alrighty, hi guys. Scrolling down to pattern focus. What did we just do? We just did fractal comma, right? So the next one is going to be loop fill. And this one is a fun little pattern. We're aiming for that. Can you see that? Am I close enough? I need to zoom in a little bit. Okay, that's what you're aiming for, is that right there. And if you'll notice on her sample, she's got the one that's like her step outs, but then she's also used one here that is got a different shape to it. Instead of being rounded, it's more pointy. This is, oh, by the way, this one is by Ina. So we're going to start out with some loops. She's got, this one she's got 3 of them coming out from the center. You could have however many you want, but 3 is a good number. So loops like that. And then from this side of the loop, she's got you going this way. I don't know if it makes any really difference which direction you go. Not 100% sure, but let's say that we have to follow this direction. Come out from just not quite in the middle, up a little bit from there. Come out and around. And then out and around. Out and around. Okay? Till you go all the way around. And then here, there's another loop. You can fill in that little spot if you want, or you can leave it open. Either way will work. And then again, up and around, up and around, up and around, and then more little fescue looking shapes up with a little loop. And once again around, depending on you know, your overlap on where they end up. And then just fill in the background if you want and do some shading. And that's how it will look right there. And then of course, then if you want to do a different shape instead of a roundy shape here, you can do more of a petally shape like she did here. So let's give that a go and see what happens. I'm going to see if I can fill in a bookmark with that, because I want to get these bookmarks done. Let's see. I need to turn on my light so you guys can see, so I can see. All right, that looks good. Is it bright enough? I could get it a little bit brighter. Let me try a little bit brighter. There we go. Nice and bright. Okay, bookmark. Which color do I want? I think I'll just do just a plain old kind of white one. And I'm going to give myself a bit of a border, like I like to do. Just to give myself a stopping spot so I don't get too close to the edge. And I think I'm going to start here in the middle and work outward. I'll give this a start, get this pen going. And right here in the middle, I'm going to go 1 loop, 2 loops, 3 loops. This one's actually going to have 4 loops. Why? Because that's how I started. That's why. Okay, I'm going to scoot this over a little bit and scoot it in just a little bit. Now let's fill those little loops in. Okay, and then we're going to go out and around. Out around. Something like that. And then coming out of each of these, we're going to do another loop. They can go different directions. They don't have to all come the same direction. So let's do one that way. A little one over here. And one coming up like that, I think. Something like that. And like that. And then this one's going to come that way. And this one's going to come this way. And I think we're going to try one coming this way. One coming up like that, and one going up this way, and a little one going this way. Why not? And maybe they'll switch on the next row. I didn't get this quite in the middle, which is fine, but maybe on the next row they'll switch up to that other shape. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? Sure, why not? Let's do this one first. Okay, can you even see that? You probably didn't. I'm probably off screen because I got really close to myself while I was working there. Okay, let's do this next row. Let's do one going this way and one coming up this way. And one going here, and one going here, and one coming up like that. And then I think I'm going to try to do a little more of a leaf shape on those guys. Why not? Oh, that's kind of interesting. I really like that. I'm going to just do a couple of more and then be done. One here, and one here, and a little one here, and maybe one coming out of here. Something like that. Oh, look how pretty that is. That came out really good. I like it. So now in between here, I want to fill in with dark. I'm going to get a little bit bigger pen just so it takes me less time to color that in. Just like that. I'm gonna do one of these cards and see what this does so that we have something to talk about. Tell it like it is. These are cards from an old board game from the 70s. How would you define joy? That's a deep question. To me, joy is separate from happiness. Personally, I think. Joy is more of a contentment. In everything that's going on around me, whether I like it or not, I can still have joy. It's a deep and profound awareness of being grateful of things in my life. And I do see it distinctly separate from happiness. I don't have to be happy to feel joy. And that probably sounds really weird. But I don't. I can feel that gratefulness, that joy, that contentment without necessarily being happy. Happy to me is more fleeting, more temporary. And joy is a long-lasting thing. I'm thinking I want this dark. Like that. Yeah. When I think of joy, I think of that kids' Sunday school song. I've got a joy, 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 joy down in my heart. Yeah, something like that, where it's deep down, it's not fleeting. It doesn't depend on happiness to be there. I know, I'm weird. It's okay. It's how I'm made. You know, we all desire love and contentment and joy. We desire that. I feel really bad for those who are unable to feel that in their lives, that are having emotional and mental issues so that they cannot connect with their joy. Absolutely, that's awesome. Okay. I am so good with that. Woohoo! I don't remember its name. Loop Fill, something. Sorry, Ina. I know it's your pattern, but I have already forgotten the name. Loop Fill. Okay, let me make sure I have that name written down. Loop Fill. I'm gonna sign it. I guess I'll sign it here. Doesn't really matter which direction I go. And then I'm gonna put a little bit of shading in here. There are a lot of spots where there's overlap, but I actually still see, excuse me, I see my border and I don't want those straight lines. I'm gonna get rid of those just gently. Okay. So the question is, do I want to do just where it overlaps, or do I see this as overlapping as well? I think I see that as overlapping as well. So I want to do a little bit here. There's going to be a lot of shading in this one. Lots of overlap, and that's a good thing. See where I'm putting it all? Just where I see that they overlap. It will reinforce that overlapping nature of these items. Some I'm making a little bit darker than others. And that will give it interest because the shading will be of different values. Some much darker than others. Okay, let's try that. Give that a little bit of a blend. I just use a simple blending stump. Some people like a tortillon. This one's a tortillon. I don't know if you can see that, but see how it's rolled paper. Staying focused, I don't know. And a blending stump. I just put a piece of painter's tape around it because I made it. I broke it. See, even where there's no painter tape. See how I've broken it and it wiggles. Yeah. So I tend to do that with the thinner ones. So I put a piece of painter's tape. They come in various sizes. I've got them all the way up to this great big old jumbo one. But see, it's not a rolled paper, it's more of a compressed paper that's been like sharpened. I prefer these. It's just my own personal preference. You guys use whatever floats your boat. But I always smudge. So you could leave it like this and it would look good. But if you smudge your pencil just a little bit. Now, let me zoom in because somebody was saying that they don't understand the smudging. So I'm going to zoom way, way in. And I'm just softly blending the edge. And as I pull out, it brings some of that pencil out with it, just ever so gently. Some people say you have to go in a circle, you can't do it in a line. You know what? Do whatever works for you. Sometimes I need to sharpen this. This is getting a little dull, and I don't know if you can see the tip is getting really super shiny. And that usually means it's not grabbing a lot of the graphite and pulling it out because it's gotten smooth. So what I'll do with that, let me zoom out a little bit so you can see, is I use either an old emery board or a tool that's, you get sometimes I got this in a kit of pencils, and so it's just sandpaper, and you just turn and flick, turn and flick, turn and flick, and it takes a lot of that off. It cleans off the tip, and it reshapes your tip if you're careful and not sticking all in one spot. Just turn and, okay, good enough. I just do it a couple of times. It don't need to be really precious with it, but see how that's cleaned all that shiny off? I'll see that as the other end has not been cleaned, and that one's been cleaned. So now this end will probably work a little bit better because it's got a little bit more tooth. See, it's pulling out that graphite much easier. I don't have to work as hard. It's blending actually better. So every so often you do need to clean the tip of your blending stump. Blending stumps are inexpensive. You can find them at any of the art stores where you get art pencils. It's in that same department with the pencils. They're usually right next to them, and like I said, they're super inexpensive. I usually get the multi-pack, which has the various sizes, and often, you know, especially if all I'm doing is running in and just grabbing those, and I can use my coupon, my 40 or 50% off coupon at Michael's or Joann's or Hobby Lobby or wherever I happen to go. You know, I can get a whole pack of them, 5 or 6 in a pack for $1 or $2. They're not expensive, and they last forever. Usually the only reason I buy more is either that I've broken the length of it into such a degree that it's just no longer functional. I've like snapped it off, which I tend to do because of the way I hold it. Or I've lost the darn things. 9 times out of 10, the reason I buy a new pack of blending stumps is because I've lost one of the sizes that's one of my favorites, and so I have to go buy another pack. Yeah, that's usually what happens, because they truly do seem to last like forever. All you have to do is use that sandpaper or the emery board, sharpen them up a little bit, clean them off, and they're good to go. And it's not like sharpening a pencil where it takes a whole chunk off of the end and make it really short. It barely does that. Look how pretty that is now that it's all smoothed out. I really like that. And if you think that you need a little more contrast, that you haven't gotten enough dark, come back in here with the pencil in some of these spots. Not all of them, just some of them. And give one or two of the areas a deeper shadow. And that will give your work even more dimension. But make sure that you come back and you also blend those spots. And you don't have to do it to all the spots, just to a few of them. And that will just kick it up a notch. Because if all of your shading is all the same value, and you don't have dark darks and light lights, then it looks flat. But if you can come back in and get some darker darks, not everywhere, just certain areas, like maybe this one. It just gives it just that little bit that you need to just take it up to the next level. Don't be afraid to shade, because you know what? If it gets too dark and it turns out you really don't like it, this tool, your eraser, is what will, I see that I didn't blend that one, will help you. If you think, oh, I made that center a little too dark, you can come in with your kneaded eraser and just tap at it and just lighten it up just a little bit. Or if you decide you don't like a particular spot of shading, you can erase it all together. So don't be afraid to shade. Yeah, don't be afraid to shade. That's what I say. Okay, so this one was good. Oops. Zoom you out so you can see the whole thing. That came out cool. I like this one, Ina. It was easy to do. It was fun. And stress-free. Always pick a stress-free pattern when you have the opportunity. Okay. You guys have a great day. I will see you tomorrow. Go out and do something nice for someone today. You know, be a blessing in someone's life. And I will be back tomorrow. Bye-bye.